No one says it's easy to install the latest technology. Sometimes it takes some pain to show real gain. I'm Kaylin Rothaus, and that's me and my first building project and my first power lunch. For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a designer. And now here I am, creating functional and fabulous spaces. This is my client, Mark Alfieri, founder and chairman of Brandstar, and that's Carmen, his chief operating officer. They've asked me to take this building and turn it into a modern and efficient workspace. It's going to be a challenge, but in the end, the new space will be functional and most definitely be fabulous.
So this week on Office Spaces, I have an entire mess of cabling to sort out. I have low voltage, high voltage, fiber, Cat 6, I don't know, a whole bunch of mess of cabling. And it's really important that all these different cables connect to our technology. So I'm really grateful that IT Director Adam Brown from Brandstar is here to help me organize all of these cables.
So all these cables will be using in different areas throughout the office. The fiber optic cables we'll be using to run from the IT room to all of the screens throughout the building for that high definition video. The Cat 6 cabling we'll be using for all of the computers and the PCs for their connectivity.
Adam was really trying to impress me today with all of his knowledge about cabling. But my design challenge has always been to build an office space that incorporated state-of-the-art technology.
So if you had to guess how many linear feet of cabling we're gonna have in this building, what would you say?
For my calculations, we will have a lot of cabling.
If you didn't even calculate it.
The cables are the backbone of all of the equipment that we're going to be putting into this office. You can have all the great equipment that you need, but you have to be able to get the signals, get the power, get the data to all of these different devices.
I'm really glad you're here to help me because we have so much amazing technology that we have to get working and functional for the end users.
First off, for this high-tech space, I wanted a security system to be mounted to the exterior of the building, with access control and security cameras monitoring each entrance, as well as security cameras throughout the interior, monitoring all entry and exit ways. That's when I ran across Fernando Esteban from Axis Communications. Axis is the world leader in network video surveillance. They invented the network camera.
Well, after looking at your project, and definitely this is a very interesting application for our products. This camera is perfect because it's not intrusive. It's a very small camera that you can even paint, and it's going to blend into the office design. This is the perfect camera to protect up to 1,000 square feet with a 360-degree, so it's a panoramic camera. So for the outdoor, we're going to be using the outdoor version of these cameras. So you can see out on the back, simply come up with one cable, and remotely we will be able to control the zoom and the angle.
Where do you recommend that these go?
So the smallest cameras that are non-intrusive, we're gonna put them here on the blue light and the light blue areas. For the outdoors, we're gonna have the P14 cameras. These cameras have 24-hour surveillance with IR illuminators.
So it looks like we'll have perfect coverage. You have all the areas, and we'll even have great nighttime coverage for the outside.
So with Axis providing the security cameras and network door controllers needed for access, along with a company called Milestone providing the monitoring software, we're ready to get started with the installation.
This chat 20 years ago was impossible, but with a single cable, which is the network cable that everybody is very familiar with. So you simply plug it into the network, you attach the camera to the wall, and all of a sudden you have an instant security system.
Access is providing us the security cameras themselves and the brains for the access control, allowing the employees in and out during certain time ranges. And Milestone is the software that does the recording for the security cameras. The Milestone product is so great that they could just ship us their recording device and we could program the cameras in. If we had any issues, they can just remotely support us. They don't actually have to come on site to do any of the work. They can remotely log in, help us out with what we need help with, and we're good to go.
Now, with Axis network cameras installed on the exterior and interior of the building, all managed by Milestone intelligent software, and fingerprint readers at each entrance controlled by Axis network door controllers, I think we're well on our way to a safe, secure environment, not only for our employees, but also for all the high-tech equipment inside.
We're now able to monitor who comes in the building, when they come in the building. We can set up schedules. We were able to tie it into a fingerprint reader biometric system, so we don't have cards that we need to be getting back from employees or people forgetting codes. We're able to just enroll their fingerprint, turn them off, turn them on whenever we want to. With the access cameras, again, another installation that went super smoothly. They were able to get them all up and running within a day and then programmed into the Milestone software.
Well, this is the office of the future, and I love it. I mean, I've been looking at all these blueprints and all the ideas, but we need to protect not only the technology and the expensive technology that we have here, also the information that is being developed, and also people. So all this new technology and all the advanced features can catch up with all the new threats that we see in the world.
There's another important aspect of communication that needs to be addressed in this office space, and that's cell phone coverage. In the old office building, cell phone coverage was spotty at best, and employees often had to walk down hallways and get close to windows in order to even find a signal.
The best I can do is usually 1 bar. And I only have 1 bar and I can't get reception. It's really tough to get my job done.
It seems the more energy efficient you become in a building, the more problems you could have with cell phone coverage. And that's where Tariq Fayyad from Advanced RF Technologies comes in to help with its system of amplifiers and cell phone repeaters.
Once Kaylin approached us, the first step was to get inside of the building and see how well the signal penetrates. The venue has a pretty common problem where the cellular coverage outside the building is pretty good. However, due to the materials that are used to build this building, the concrete, the glass, and whatnot, it has caused the cellular coverage to weaken.
Solving this problem means climbing to the roof, where wiring.com and ADRF will install a large antenna.
So the solution to this problem is the SDR, that's a software-defined repeater. The device takes the weak cell phone signal that's coming from the cell sites and it amplifies that to provide more even, more fuller coverage inside the building.
The end result? Cell phone use throughout the office space with a full cell signal from nearly any provider. It's the kind of reliable communication needed to keep a high-tech office buzzing. With all this technology now being wired into place, I wanted to find the easiest and smartest way to interact with it all. That's when I came across smart technologies at the Neocon show in Chicago.
And this is Smart Cap, which is the whiteboard reinvented. And we're very excited about this. Really what we've done is we've taken 2 things that people love and combined them. So one is people love their whiteboards. And the other thing people love is their personal devices. They love their tablets, they love their cell phones. So what we've done is effectively merge them together.
So great. So when I'm using your whiteboards in our office space, how do I install this equipment?
Yeah, the installation is unbelievably simple. There's no IT or network integration whatsoever.
Okay.
It's plug it into the wall, download a free app from the Apple Store, and pair it with the device and you're good to go.
So what I thought was so interesting was the ability to connect with each other so quickly. Not only can I share my meeting and what I'm writing on the whiteboard with people who are actually sitting in front of me, but I can also send a link to someone overseas, abroad, in order for them to read the information that I'm sharing.
So what we've done with this generation over here, which is called Smart Cap IQ, and what this is allows for 2-way interaction. So whoever you send the meeting session to, they can actually write on a touch device and it inks back.
This is great. What a testament to our times and where we are with technology and sharing information so quickly.
Since the beginning, wiring.com has been with us on this project, pulling miles and miles of cables and wires, but it all needs to converge at some point. So my design plan included an IT room, the brain of the technology. So I once again turned to John Kolodny from wiring.com.
So the challenge that we have is with convergence, everything being put into the IT room now with smart intelligent buildings, how much can we really squeeze into that small space and not only make it functional for move-in day, but make it functional for 10 years down the road.
That's when Adam brought in Tom Cabral from Chatsworth Products, a 25-year-old company that specializes in cable management and racks to store all this technology.
This is the nervous center of your whole building right here. And we are the bones to that nervous center. So there's a rack behind which everything is mounted on is our rack. Then you have your horizontal cable managers, and then you have your vertical cable managers. Well, cable management is paramount because there's a couple things going on in this rack. One, if you have to do an add, move, and change, you have somebody out in the desktop that needs to move to a different desktop, how are you going to find that cable if you're not managing it great? The second thing that's going to come up is heat, and heat is a big problem these days. And if you can keep your cables dressed in nicely, keep it away from your server fans, you can exhaust that heat out a lot quicker.
It's the cable management and heat control needed to keep all of this office space technology integrated and working together. And as per my IT room design, Chatsworth is providing the infrastructure to support it.
It looks great, first of all. Second of all, it's very functional. It's very well thought out, done neatly and organized. This is going to serve you for years to come.
It's one thing to have all this cool technology on display in these boardrooms and office spaces, but it's quite another thing to make sure it all works when you press a button. So that's when we turn to Gavin Downey of Monoprice to help us out. They're a one-stop shop for every cable required in this project. If the technology works, chances are there's a Monoprice cable hidden behind the wall that's making it work.
We actually are quite happy when a cable sort of disappears to the end user. We want everything to work seamlessly, and if our cables are doing their job, the person doesn't really think about the cable. And in order to get everything that is possible from the displays and from the content and to make that seamless for people, you need high-quality connectivity.
What I especially liked about Monoprice was that they understood my design vision: to create a workspace where more can be done with less if the right technology is used.
We love teams of people and customers and integrators that care a lot about technology. Everything that she's doing in terms of like sound baffling and lighting, we love those types of opportunities because that's just where our brand fit.
For Monoprice, it meant providing a different cable of different lengths for nearly every space in the building. And luckily, Jason is here in order to integrate all of this cabling to work seamlessly.
This project, it was pretty complex in the realms of cabling. We had many different lengths all over the place and cables in every single room here. Every office got HDMIs. We got the social media room, which had at least 20 TVs with 30 different lengths of HDMI cables, not including the rack. So we had cables everywhere in this building.
It's really not a one-size-fits-all. So you really have to understand the location and how everything's going to be used.
You could say Monoprice connects all the different vendors of technology together. In the end, everything works, but you don't see what makes it work.
So everything has to be seamless and it has to be in the background. We have to empower the people that work in this room to do their jobs and not to think about technology. And only the best technology enables that to really move into the background and empower people to do their job.
So when SmartCap and SmartCap IQ boards arrived from SmartTech, as well as the interactive SmartBoard large screen monitors, which we installed in the conference rooms, we were ready to add the finishing touches to this showplace of interactive technology. Now that's not to say there still weren't a few challenges to overcome.
The challenge we had with installing these was mainly how heavy they are. Everything's a lot lighter than it used to be, but they're still a couple 100 pounds.
So with all this SmartTech equipment installed in the conference rooms, we're ready to test it out for the first time. I've designed a space with multiple ways to view content, from video walls and TV screens to computer screens and smartboards. My design challenge was to find a way to display the same picture and message on all of the multiple screens at Brandstar. That's when I came across Bob Michaels, the CEO of ZV.
The company started on the basis that we could take a video from a computer and move it out to all the TVs, such as an office complex or a sports bar, and you want to distribute video to many, many screens over long distances around that location, you could come to us. Ultimately, we have the ability to distribute broadcast quality video from a source over significantly long distances to really an unlimited number of televisions throughout any premise.
So ZV actually allows us to program and create our own video network throughout the building. This allows us to display customized messaging on every video board.
In corporations today, a large part of the task at hand is keeping people informed. Okay, and people are tied to their devices, people are tied to their video screen, whether it be a monitor, whether it be a television, getting information to those people. So part of our task and part of our solution here is to be able to bring television or to bring video or information out to those people seamlessly and inexpensively. Looking at the technology that's in this building today, I have to say that there are very few corporate locations that I've been in that have the technology in use, 4K, distributed throughout the facility to all the employees. I would say the facility is in a league of its own.
In order to carry those high-resolution images and graphics in 4K, it requires a much higher-end cable, specifically a fiber optic solution. That's when we brought aboard Robert Diodario from Clearline Technology Group. His company specializes in fiber optic technology.
With Kalen's design, we saw a very advanced technology infrastructure that was required, and especially for video production. You need the highest resolution distributed throughout the entire building. Really, the only solution at that point is, in essence, providing a fiber infrastructure to do that. We can provide a fiber product that anyone can install. Our fiber is easier, more durable than any other product on the market, including category cable, and is easier to terminate and be trained or learn how to terminate. And the hardware component has definitely come in line with copper solutions. Fiber, in general, is very fragile. It's glass. Our fiber is still glass at its core. But because it's coated in a polymer, the fiber doesn't erode over time, which allows us to have a much longer life expectancy.
So with these fiber optic cables that are long-lasting and easy to install, we should be able to keep the high-resolution imagery on prominent display at Brandstar for a long, long time. So finally, my overall goal and design concept is to create a boardroom that houses today's cutting-edge technology and to be able to use it in a way that we can record information and share it easily. For that, I turned to Tim Henry from Sony Electronics.
The whole concept behind our cameras is the ability to communicate and collaborate in a more efficient manner, whether that's from a corporate boardroom, from a house of worship, from a higher education. We believe we have a camera for them.
With the help of Jason, the installation process was a snap, although each base can present its own challenges.
For example, here in the small boardroom, we have several windows lining the walls, which makes for a very difficult and challenging optical application for us.
Thankfully, the Sony cameras are feature-rich, and they provide what we call View DR, which will allow us to backlight compensate for that.
And from an architectural standpoint, the large boardroom is quite a distance from the control room. So to run an HDMI cable from the large boardroom to the control room is quite expensive. And also, to run power to the Sony cameras is quite expensive as well.
So we matched up the Sony Easy to Connect CAD5 cabling solution, which will provide them power, control, and an HDMI digital signal out of the camera to the control room. Very easy for us to convert any boardroom, so it's easy to put your best face forward with Sony Electronics.
We were able to tie all of this technology back to the Brandstar IT room. We're now able to communicate seamlessly through touchscreen TVs and interactive smart cat boards, and record our meetings with ease. Adam and I were especially anxious to show all this interactive technology to Mark, the founder of Brandstar.
You know, all the stuff on here, if you grab these pens down here, you have the ability to draw on the screens.
You can scroll up with your finger?
Yeah, you scroll with your finger, you can draw.
There's my dog, Molly.
There you go.
Isn't that a pretty dog?
I think Mark loves the ability to interact with the computers and have this touchscreen capabilities to allow him to really be able to go to that next level.
That's amazing.
It feels great to see the entire boardroom finally come together. Using Kalen's design intent, everything came together perfectly. All the technology is working as expected. Employees will be able to come in, just use everything. It will be great to see everyone using this room.